Whoa, are you guys ready for a Sonic the Hedgehog orgy? Because that's basically what's happening here. Sonic, well, he's come out with a lot of games. And while some of them have stood out as classics that will be remembered for years to come, others have slipped through the cracks, becoming lost to time due to their age or their quality, or sometimes both. So what better way to celebrate Sonic and his millions upon millions of games than by throwing together a compilation of 4 of those games with extra shiny graphics and some oh so precious widescreen and make everybody pay $40 for it? What did I just say? Sorry about that, guys. That just sort of slipped out. I have the wrong game here. What I meant to say was, what better way to celebrate Sonic than by throwing together a greatest hits album of over a dozen high-quality games and, I guess I got that part wrong too. Sonic Mega Collection isn't exactly what you would call a greatest hits album. It's definitely got some bangers here or there, such as the original trilogy of classic Sonics, but it's also got some stinkers, as well as some titles that fall somewhere in between. Does that not sound familiar? Honestly, Sonic Mega Collection is basically just one giant metaphor for Sonic's gaming career, period. And also his movie career. And you know what? Let's throw in music in there as well. But you know what? That right there is what makes this the true Sonic Origins. It's not dressing things up with modern graphics and spoon-feeding you a cherry-picked set of games with a lame AF Infinite Lives mode. Instead, what it does is present you with about a dozen classic games that, for better or worse, establish the very foundations of Sonic. These titles highlight an important fact about Sonic that needs to be addressed, and that is that his games have always been hit or miss, even since before he went 3D. So today, I'll be taking a dive into the very game compilation that perfectly encapsulates Sonic's origins, warts and all. I'll be grouping each game into 4 tiered categories, the highest tier being the Classic Sonic category. Then there's the For Shits and Giggles category, the Only If You're High Enough category, and finally, the lowliest of low tiers reserved for the worst of the worst games, the category. Also, I won't be going over any of the non-Sonic related games found on this compilation, as that's just not what this video is about. And also, I'm far too lazy to play them. I will, however, be covering all the titles that come with the Plus version of the game. So, yeah, you're welcome. With that being said, let's get down to it and find out why Sonic Mega Collection deserves better. Or does it? Just kidding. I know this isn't that type of video. Also, if you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. I know you hear that get said a lot on YouTube these days, but believe it or not, it really does go a long way in allowing me the platform to defecate all over your favorite games. Hee winky face. Up first, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the original Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis. You already know this game is going towards the top of this list out of sheer respect alone. It's the game that started it all for Sonic, and it's also the game that gave us that classic 2D Sonic gameplay. Oh, and what's that? This is the game that just keeps on giving. It also gave us the iconic Green Hill Zone, a zone that has truly transcended time itself and will live on as one of the most fun, most iconic, most significant stages in the history of the Blue Blur. Oh, and then it also gave us the much slower paced Marble Zone right after that, which is a bit weird. And then it gave us Spring Yard Zone, which is also a bit slower and not super great. And then the Underwater Labyrinth. Oh god, what the hell happened here? This game started off near perfectly with the speed and exploration focused Green Hill Zone that was designed to teach us that Sonic was all about the speed. But then it just pulls a 180 and gives us one slow plotting mess of a level after another. Things do pick up a little bit once you reach Starlight Zone, but by then the initial excitement you had for starting this game had all but fizzled out, and you kinda just wanna be done. It's obvious that Sega hadn't quite figured out Sonic's level design by this point, so they were essentially just throwing together rudimentary stages to pad this game out until they could get better with the next installment. I will say that being the masochist I am, I actually thoroughly enjoyed Labyrinth Zone my first time through it, just for the sheer amount of traps, hidden enemies, and overall douchebag level design it throws at you. Overall, Sonic 1 is a mixed bag of highs and lows that doesn't know what it's trying to be yet. But due to the sheer significance of this game, I'm still placing it at the highest tier, Classic Sonic. It's still worth playing all the way through, especially if you're looking for that raw, gritty, challenge for the sake of challenge fix from a game. Next up is Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis. Unless you've been living under a rock, then you likely already know that this is the classic Sonic game in many people's eyes. And on a slightly sentimental note, this was actually the very first video game I ever played when I was 4 years old. Yeah, this game fucking means something to me, bro. And it does everything right with 2D Sonic that Sonic 1 failed to do. It made not just 1 or 2 stages fast, but every stage fast. This game could arguably be considered the truest of true origins of Sonic, as it's the title where he actually found his footing and discovered who he was. Every level from Emerald Hill to Chemical Plant to Casino Night, and yes, I'm including Metropolis Zone in this because I really don't know what everyone is freaking out so much about with it. Like, dude, you just gotta slow down a tiny bit and watch for those boomerang pincers, bro. Like, seriously, just get good, bro. Sonic 2 is probably the most well-balanced Sonic experience of the original quadrilogy. Wow, try saying that 5 times fast. Its difficulty curve is respectable, every stage is speed-focused, and it's also the perfect length and doesn't overstay its welcome. That being said, I'm throwing Sonic 2 smack dab in the middle of the classic Sonic tier list. Ah, God, I love you, Sonic 2. Okay, so technically I have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 up next, and then after that is Sonic and Knuckles, but since there's that whole weird thing where these two titles are basically both halves of the same game, but were released separately due to time constraints, I'm gonna make things easy on myself here and just go with the full Sonic and 3 version you can unlock by, and I'm not kidding about this, playing Sonic 3 and Sonic Knuckles 20 times each. That means I had to go in, start up the game, and immediately quit out of it and back to the main menu a total of 40 times. Turns out that's actually how you unlock pretty much all of the unlockable games in this collection. That is just agony. But anyways, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. God damn, if you ever want to experience Sonic overload, then boy do I have the game for you. This motherfucker has 12 full stages to get through. 12! Sonic 1 had 6, and Sonic 2 had 8. This is, I gotta say, I'm starting to regret not just doing both Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles separately, because this is just too much. I'm sorry, but by the time I reach Ice Cap Zone, I'm ready to check the fuck out. It's not that the stages are boring or poorly designed, but they're much more long-winded than, say, Sonic 2 stages. Nearly every stage is centered around a gimmick of some kind, and these aforementioned gimmicks only serve to slow the game down rather than spice things up. That being said, these stages are much more digestible when played in 6-stage bursts via the 2 separate games rather than the full game. I recommend playing Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles separately with breaks in between so you don't risk overriding your system with too much Sonic like I did. Now everywhere I look, all I see is rings to collect. Ugh. Aside from all that, Sonic 3 and Knuckles stages are well balanced and fun, and I love the feeling that I'm really going on an epic adventure. Shout out to Ice Cap Zone for being a personal favorite of mine. God, that music is good. It's just too bad that this game seems to just burn itself out with, well, too much content. So if I have to place Sonic 3 and Knuckles in a tier, it would probably be the for shits and giggles tier. But then the 2 separate games, Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, definitely are going in the classic Sonic tier. Oh god, next up, Sonic 3D Blast. So, we've been riding pretty high for a bit now with the original trilogy all being pretty great games, but now we're heading into some more uncharted, rockier territory. Let's just say things are about to get weird with Sonic. 3D Blast kicks off the weirdness with its main gimmick being that it's pseudo 3D in an attempt to fool kids of the time into thinking it was actual 3D. Yeah, if you were one of those kids back then and you're watching this now, I am so sorry. This is just kinda bad. But it's not all bad. It's just that Sega's attempt at meshing a pseudo 3D space with Sonic's speed-style gameplay did not translate at all to a fine-tuned machine of a final product. Basically, Sonic controls like he is on cocaine here. You move the left stick in any conceivable direction, and Sonic is just gone. He flies around the map like he's a wild bird that just flew through your open window and is now flailing around wildly trying to find a way out. If you aren't able to take control of this guy, then he will send you straight into the stratosphere. Oh, and another thing, draw distance. Trying to figure out platforming in this game is like trying to walk to the grocery store with a paper bag over your head. You can't truly tell how far apart certain platforms are because of the stupid overhead view that they implemented here. Combined with this atrocious excuse for a 3D model, you have to race around collecting flickies in each world, and I will say that this part is for the most part pretty painless. I like that your task for each stage is simple and fairly mindless, as that helps make up for the lack of sustainable movement mechanics. It's an easy game to take on once you get the hang of it, and the graphics, despite how bad they've initially come off, are at least kind of cute once you get used to them. Overall, I wouldn't say this is a complete mess, but at the same time there's a reason this game isn't talked about a whole lot. If you're really desperately bored, then I'd say play it only if you're high enough. Alright, so it looks like things only get worse from here. We have Sonic Spinball. How the can anybody defend this? I sat here for hours trying to shoot my Sonic pinball guy up to where he needed to be, but he kept bouncing off literally everything else and sending me flying either back to the start or in a completely different section of the level that I didn't even want to be in. The challenge of this game is its incessant need to melt your mind with its broken pinball physics. This isn't even flippin' pinball to begin with. It's just Sonic getting whacked over and over again up to the same corners of the map where he slowly falls back down to you through a sea of butter. A thick, warm sea of gooey butter that just wants to slow you down. Slow you to a crawl, because this game can't handle all these quick movements. God, the frame rate. Basically, this game drove me insane. I do not recommend. Moving on. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Wow, I am really bad at this. But it's one of those things I'd like to really get good at one day. I would just feel so smart if I did, you know? And I gotta say right quick, this shit is addicting. It's really fun being able to challenge yourself and see how clever you can get with the falling blocks. The key here is to knock off multiple combinations of the same color blocks by stacking them right next to each other. And once you get at least 4 of a kind linked together, they disintegrate from your stack, freeing you up space to create more combos. I feel like I just over-explained Puyo Puyo to you. And also Tetris. A true pro gamer knows that in order to start winning against the higher round characters, one must be adept enough to foresee more than one set of the same color blocks disintegrating within one move. Once you've nailed that down, you can really destroy the competition. I'm throwing this one in the for shits and giggles tier. This is a great game for challenging yourself mentally, and could also be a really good time playing with a friend. Although I'd wager you could end up losing a few friends should you get too good at this. But hey, who needs friends when you have Puyo Puyo, right? Guys? Next up, we have the first title that Mega Collection Plus has to offer. Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Game Gear. This is basically the handheld equivalent of the original Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis, and I actually think this one takes the W as the better version of the two. While Game Gear Sonic 1 shares a lot of the same problems of the Genesis version in regards to it being more platforming focused than speed focused, that actually works in this game's favor a bit better in this more condensed handheld environment. It borrows some of the same levels as the Genesis version, such as Green Hill Zone, Scrap Brain Zone, and yes, even Labyrinth. But compared to the Genesis version of Labyrinth Zone, this Labyrinth Zone is a cakewalk. Being that this game was developed on a handheld system, the zones here are much less congested, far more linear, and more easily digestible. And given what I've covered about the design flaws of the Genesis game, this is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. None of these zones overstay their welcome like they did in the Genesis game, and this is majorly supported by the fact that there are only 2 full stages per zone here, with the third stage being fully dedicated to the zone's boss rather than another full stage to slog through. Hallelujah! This allows the game to have far better pacing than its Genesis predecessor, and honestly, this closely resembles the Sonic 1 we probably should have gotten on the Genesis. I'll definitely be coming back to replay this one. This gets an easy, classic Sonic spot from me. Sonic Labyrinth, a game dedicated entirely to Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1, a zone that Sega apparently loved so much they had to not only make twice for 2 separate games, but also had to shape an entire game around the concept of. Thanks, Sega! I'll admit I'm using a bit of hyperbole when describing this installment, as it's not nearly as bad as its zone counterpart. You are plopped down into these labyrinth-style rooms, yes, but I would hardly think the term labyrinth is fair here. Your goal is to meander around these rooms in search of 3 keys, which you then must use to unlock a door to the next stage, and all this must be done within a time limit. I think this really has potential. Quite honestly, it's just kinda odd that they had to make Sonic even slower than when he's traveling underwater. I get the idea is to rely on the spin dash more to maneuver around these rooms, but this just goes far against what Sonic stands for. It doesn't even feel like a Sonic game, really. Nevertheless, the gameplay is overall inoffensive, and you'll be done with this thing in 40 minutes tops, and will have already forgotten it happened by lunch hour. Because that's the best way I can sum up this game. Forgettable. Forgettable and pointless. This gets a only if you're high enough from me. Oh my, what the hell? Sonic Drift it's a game. Oh, who am I kidding? This game has nothing going for it. Are you somebody who's just out and about searching for the most bare bones, rudimentary racing game possible? Then look no further, because this piece of crap will steal 15 minutes of your life that you'll never get back. Imagine a racing game where you've only got 4 vehicles to pick from, only 6 courses to actually race on, and having each course be coma-inducingly basic in their design, and then not being able to see while you race on them. Actually, you know what? 15 minutes may have been too generous. If the first one is this bad, I can only imagine what the sequel must be like. You couldn't pay me to give that one a try. Okay, well, maybe a little. Shall we say $20 a minute for that one? I could make a Patreon and post the video on there. Overall, Sonic Drift is bad, and it's going straight to the bottom of the tier list. But seriously guys, $15 per minute sound good? Up next we have Sonic Chaos. I'm really having a hard time coming up with things to say about this one. It's another rendition in the 2D side-scroller realm of Sonic, and if I have to find something to say, it's hold right to win. Seriously, these are some of the lamest stages I've played in a Sonic game. Sega didn't even try here. The reason I say hold right to win is because, well, that's really all there is to it. These levels don't really have anything going on in them, and you can basically just blitz through them without much stopping you. There's even this rocket power-up you can grab at times that literally just flies you through 80% of the level. I guess Sega realized how lifeless this game was and decided to help us out by granting this cop-out right here so we can get through it faster. Hey, thanks guys. Would have really appreciated something like that in Sonic Spinball though. In conclusion, I wouldn't call something like this bad, but also like, why? This does nothing to change up the 2D formula, but rather it just devolves it into a boring trudge through absolutely forgettable stages. Like, I'm seriously drawing a blank trying to talk about this game. Only if you're high enough. Ending off the Mega Collection Plus games, we have Sonic Blast, which is an ironic title given that this is absolutely not a blast to play. This in a nutshell just feels like Walmart branded Sonic. I don't know who exactly thought this was a good idea, as it feels like I'm watching a bad stop motion video made by some kid in 2007. I really couldn't stomach much of it, so I'll keep this brief as I'm losing my patience more and more with each bad game. Play this only if you're super passionate about experiencing the entire history of Sonic, warts and all. After all, That is what Sonic Mega Collection is all about, and Sonic Blast is a massive wart. It's an embarrassment to be sure, but it at least proves my earlier point that Sonic games have been hit or miss since the very beginning. So I give it credit for that, otherwise this gets a massive... Well, there you have it, folks. Nearly a dozen Sonic games I just ran through, and honestly, I'm all Sonic'd out. This collection was certainly all over the place in terms of quality, as you can see. But hey, I think we've all accepted that's par for the course with the Blue Hedgehog at this point, and this collection understands that. What I love about this collection is not so much the consistent quality of the games, obviously, but rather how raw it is. It's presenting Sonic to you as he is, that is, not perfect, with some good stuff and some bad. The reason this is the true Sonic origins is because it shows that his humble beginnings were not all sunshine and rainbows like certain games would have you believe. The common misconception is that Sonic started out on the highest of highs and then fell off after the original trilogy, when in actuality, he's been a flawed franchise from the start. Once we all accept this fact, then and only then can we truly move forward with Sonic and stop living in the past. The past, of course, is good for a visit from time to time, but when it becomes overpowering, like it did in Sonic Mania, then it's like, what are we doing here? Thank you, Sonic Mega Collection, for reminding me that I don't need to shell out $40 to play 4 games that have widescreen. I'll just wait until Sonic Mania 2 comes out. Also, Sonic Origins is stupid. Oh, look at the little Flicky, he's so cute. Oh yeah, go Flicky, get your little birdie friends. Oh, don't get caught by the tiger. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. Oh yeah, go catch your little birdie friends. Oh yeah. Oh, God, I love this shit. Oh God, I love